Good evening again. We are going to talk about MSIE security zones and their usage in a corporate network. So I'm working for a French security company, and you will be able to download the last presentation on my website here. Okay, so we have to be fast. We have only 20 minutes. So we are going to see some general points. Then I will show you how to create some custom MSIE security zones. And then we will conclude. Okay, some general points. Why IE security zones? In fact, you know that a lot of companies use internally IE as their corporate web browser. They don't have choice sometimes. So everybody can't use Mozilla, etc. So they have IE installed and they want to secure it, okay, to secure browsing habits in their companies. So they need to protect their users against some hostile codes like viruses, worms, etc., spyware, some kind of spyware, and also some hostile web servers. You saw that hostile web servers are not proof of concept anymore. You have now real hostile web servers, so you have to protect against that.
Another part of the problem is that,
Sorry?
another part of the problem is that Internet Explorer is used as the rendering engine for certain outlines like Home Express or Outlook. And one of the ways that, in addition to hostile web servers, you see hostile hosts.
Yeah, exactly. Hostile web servers and also hostile emails. Okay, so companies need different policies depending on the website accessed by their users. So their users are allowed to access professional websites, tolerated websites. At lunchtime, for example, they can surf on eBay, I don't know, something like that. And they have really forbidden websites. Also, each company can set a set of ActiveX allowed or not in the company. And we will see together how to enable or not some ActiveXs. Okay, so now MSIE security zones. So security zones are stored in two locations in the registry, one in the local machine hive and one in the current user hive. So these settings are additive. You can set some parameters in one and some other parameters in the other, and the settings are additive. But you can set only your custom website, your URLs, your domain names in the current user hive. And if you want to enable only computer settings for every user on the same machine, you can set this value, so the value security, in this registry key, and the current user settings are not taken into account. Only the local machine is taken into account. It can be useful if you want to, if you have some computers accessed or used by several people, and if you want the same parameters used by everyone, it's a good way to do it. And in this key, the key we saw, you have three subkeys: template policies, where you can define default parameters for each zone, zone map that contains domains and protocols with custom behaviors, so you can add your URLs here, your domain names, etc. for each zone. And you have the zone key containing all your zones. So you have 4 zones by default, and you can add zones. We are going to see it. Okay, so the built-in zones are from 0 to 4. So the 0 zone is my computer. It's a hidden zone by default, but you have it on your computer. And you see in IE parameters the 4 zones: local internet zone, trusted sites, internet and restricted sites. You know all that, I think. You can unhide the My Computer zone, so the purely local zone. You can set the flag value in the 0 key to 71 decimal. And you're going to see that My Computer becomes visible. Okay. In fact, the flags keyword determines how users can modify parameters for each zone. Something very interesting. In fact, when you save locally an HTML page from the internet, you can set a parameter in the file on your computer to open the HTML page as if it was in one of the security zones. It's Microsoft calls this the mark of the web. It's a tag like this, like an HTML comment saved from URL equals, you have the URL length and the URL used to open the page. So if you put foo.example.com in the restricted zone security zone, then when you open your local file, your local HTML page, it will be open like if it was in the restricted zone. It can be useful. Then the easiest way to create a new security zone, it's as usual, you can export the closest zone to your need. So if you want to create a new zone that would be like the restricted zone, you can export the restricted zone to a .reg file. Then you modify the exported file to modify the zone number, flags, icon, name, etc. We're going to see that. And then you re-import the .reg file into your registry. And then you can use the graphical user interface to modify the parameters like the other zones, in fact. So before you have the 4 default built-in zones, and after you have the My Computer zone on the right, and your new custom zone, like, for example, Trusted Site here. Okay, you can set a different icon, a different name, etc. So there is a side effect. We are going to see that. I'm going to show you. Okay, for example, here, DEFCON, you see I'm going to, I have 6 zones here, My Computer, and another zone here. You have a side effect here. In this interface, you can see the real name you specified in the registry. You have here some data. We are going to talk about this with the Microsoft team. But if you specified a website here, for example, test.com, and you go to this site, test.com, okay, you see here, it's not very visible. You see at the lower right corner, then we are in the friendly sites security zone. It's my new zone. As you can see here in my registry, in internet settings, zones. Oh yes, it's a local machine here. Current user. In my 5th security zone, it's in fact friendly sites. Okay, here. So I created a 5th security zone. The icon I chose is specified here. So you can see here. The icon you have here is the same than the one here. So we are really in the 5th security zone, okay? Okay, so we've just seen that. I have to go fast. Now, administrator approved ActiveX. You know that you have 4 choices to execute or not ActiveXs in your IE. So you have to prompt the user to execute or not ActiveX. You can forbid any ActiveX, you can execute any ActiveX, and you can execute only administrator-approved ActiveXs. So where do you specify which ActiveXs are approved or not? In fact, it's in this registry key, in the current user hive. And you can see also the approved ActiveXs in the MMC. You load the GPO snap-in, you browse to local computer policy and user configuration, and you see this. You have an ActiveX list here, and you can enable or disable which you want. So, for example, Flash is used on a huge number of websites, so you have to enable it in your corporate network. So this one is enabled. The others are disabled, as you can see. In the registry, sorry, you can go allowed controls. They are stored here with their CLS ID here. So you can add your own CLS IDs here, and if you put 0, it's allowed, and if you specify 1 here, it's forbidden, disabled. Yeah? It's global for IE, yes. You can't approve some ActiveXs for one zone and not the other. Too bad. I think it's restricted. You have some more information?
So this list is global to IE, but it's only applied when the rule, what we call the role action, for that zone section is approved. So for example, in your environment, you might set the internet zone only run administrator approved ActiveX control, and at that point it would pick up this list. Okay. But the restricted site zone, which is the high security, no script, no Java, no ActiveX, would not use only the zones that are configured to administrator approved.
Okay. He's from the Microsoft IE team, so he's the
We have a couple of folks from IE here.
yeah, he's the Bible on that.
You guys actually have a lot of great information here, and I'm really glad to see folks investigating this and learning. So,
Thank you very much.
I want to hear feedback too.
Okay. Okay. So it's a screenshot of what we saw. The deployment. Once you configured your policy for IE, for your zones, for your ActiveXs, how do you deploy it on your corporate network to each workstation? So you have some means. You can use IE/AK, so Internet Explorer administration kit, but you can use also GPOs. To configure GPOs, it's also in the MMC, so we are going to see this. Sort of controls, yes, and you see you have a node here, Internet Explorer maintenance, and you have a security node here with security zones and some parameters. And if you see the properties, you can import, in fact, your current settings here. You can modify them if you want. Then generate a GPO, and I think you can deploy all these GPOs on your workstations. So it's very, very easy to do so. Okay. So we have to go faster. Oh no, okay, we are on time. Okay. Sorry? Oh yeah. Okay, we have time. Okay, we can make a demonstration. We can create a new zone if you want, if you have time. It's pretty cool. Okay, so now we can use security zone, in fact, to put more security in browsing habits of your users. and it's very, very important, I think. With security zone, you can increase the overall IE security level, but you know that it doesn't replace security patch management, because you have some vulnerabilities you can't you can cope with only security zones. So you have to patch your IE. Also, it's always the same thing. Okay, so you have some interesting links here. I think you have more links here than on your paper and on the CD-ROM, so you'll be able to download the presentation. You have some KB articles here, Microsoft Res Kits for IE, and some articles, interesting articles from Microsoft here. So we have a specialist, and we can talk about that now. Yeah? Mm-hmm.
Prevent all the custom cross-scripting attacks you see on an ongoing basis. In fact, I know Microsoft has documented how to lock down microservices. If you follow those recommendations, which are also in place in XP Service Pack 2,
Mm-hmm.
would have been protected against all kinds of managing security vulnerabilities that happened in IE over the last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's just something we also need to keep in mind to lock down the already existing stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, I did not detail the graphical user interface because everyone knows it. In fact, you have to take every zone, each zone, and configure your parameters for each one, of course. And then you have to choose which domains I will put in which zone, etc. You can create 10 zones if you want and specify some domains in them. And for one, I allow ActiveXs but not active scripting. For the other, I will allow active scripting and not ActiveX, etc., etc., etc. So you can use very, very fine parameters on your browsing habits, in fact.
So I want to support that statement. What you said about configuring the internet zone. The internet zone is explicitly the website that default to the internet zone. So if an end user of your network was browsing to a bad site or website, or if someone kicked off a web page to one site, and that site by default is going to go in the internet zone. The internet
Yeah.
So it's free, coming to you soon, as possible. Please use download it and test it in your environment.
Okay. Okay, I'm on Windows 2003 here. When will be? Yeah.
Spartan IE,
Yeah.
right?
And we are waiting for SP1.
Yes. Right.
Okay. Do you know where it will be released?
I don't know when Windows 2003 server timeline will be up. Don't know how to.
Okay. It's pretty informal here. Great. Other question? Yeah? Yeah? First one? I think it will be available on Black Hat website also. So, sorry, on local machine? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. Yes, it depends. You're right. Okay, some other questions? Okay. Thank you very much.